Possibly live. Probably live. Okay, I think I'm probably live. I know that I made the post like 20 minutes ago on Facebook. I made the post on Twitter. I did the post on Discord. So I've hit the social media spots that I needed to hit. So so okay. Raf, the cats are okay. We have not had a doggo since our bloody nose boy and Loki. I am really allergic to dogs. My allergy to them got bad and kept getting worse. So he was our last puppo. The kittes are doing okay. Our 16-year-old Siamese had fast-acting cancer recently. We had to put her down just the other day. Um, the sad facts of having animals, especially with the older ones. The rest of the kitties have been doing okay though. So things and stuff and stuff and things. So let's give you the rundown of things and stuff for books. Antecedents Legacy 3 came out, was the last book that came out. Did what Antecedents does. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Andy is currently recording the audio to it. When she finishes and I audio proof it, it'll go to Podium, and then it'll sit with Podium until they do their sound editing and then put it up for their pre-order. And so for those people who are wondering, when they tell me, "Hey, we put up the pre-order," I will then notify you guys. Until then, I have no idea. That was the past and kind of the present. Um, Lux Voice 8, Emerita Divided, as you can see, is up on a pre-order now. I put it up just the other day, so there is my mod will throw up a link here in chat in just a second for you guys. Um, it will release on the 17th. So for those people who are wondering, I believe you get it at midnight your time zone on the 17th. So depending on where you are, you will get it vastly sooner than some other people. Um, that is the next to last book of Lux Voice. Lux Voice will run 9 books. I look forward to wrapping up the series with book 9. When you guys read through 8, I am sure you will understand what and where, because I pretty much set the stage going into the last book with this one. So you'll you'll see, you'll see. I don't want to spoil anything. For my beta readers and my beta readers, any of my beta readers in here, a little bit of a change to the end of the book from when you beta read it and what is going to be published. You will understand when you read it. Just saying. Just saying. A little twist that got added in late. I hope you enjoy it. Let's see. That was that. That's what comes there. Okay, so then of course that is what's coming out here in the next couple of days. So on the 18th of this month, shortly after LV8 publishes, Aethers 9 will start getting its preview chapters on um, Patreon. For those people who have been chomping at the bit for more Aethers, Patreon will start getting their chapters later this week, and then we are looking at getting it released currently, because we know how I am. Currently, we're looking at kicking it out in late September. With Dragon Con and stuff going on, the end of August going into September, guys, I wouldn't expect that date to move much, if at all. So just be aware. Um, but we are looking for late September currently for Aethers 9, which you can see there is Empire's Orders. What that means, you'll find out. And then following that, we will have Heavenly Chaos 2, Fighting Past Pain. Um, I took a kind of a double dip on that title. It can, when you have those 3 words put together, it can mean a couple of things. So you have fighting past pain, and you can figure out if it means both, if it means one, if I'm just trolling you completely. That will all be 100% up to you. This shirt was pointed out to me by one of my editors, and I bought it just for them. I'll I'll pull up the there you go, the little tag underneath it all. So there you go, CB, the full shirt. You can get it on Amazon. That's where I bought it. If you want to annoy people, I actually wore this to JordanCon, the first day of JordanCon when I got there and went to get my badge and stuff. And the people working the front of that convention looked up, saw my shirt, and went, "I hate it." And I went, "So do my editors." And needless to say, people remembered me. So that was something. I have a thing where my my moderators are helping me out by getting your comments and questions slated for me to answer. So feel free, guys, to keep those rolling. Because as with all chats, the chat will end when I run out of things to talk about. So your comments and questions will help keep me going. I will call it at 2 hours or around 2 hours, regardless, because I need to take care of things before I go to bed. And I am a big fan of sleep, and I am not giving up my sleep. Uh, so just take that with a grain of salt. And apparently my mother is here. Hi, Mom. I think. Okay. So I can start answering questions. Yes. How is the writing going? Um. Okay. I'm still getting my chapter a day done. Um. Life is life, though. So at some days it's more of a struggle than others. Uh, we will continue to push on in the face of adversity, and if I absolutely need to, I'll take a day to not do anything. Tomorrow's probably going to be one of those days, but that's because I have other things going on. I have other errands and chores I have to take care of. That's going to be right in the middle of when I normally write. So and that might be a broken day, or I might, when I finish with all that, I get back to my computer. I might finish out a chapter at that point. I'll find out when I get there. But overall, it's going fine. I mean, I don't try to write 60,000 words a day or something like other people do. So it's it's hard to say in that regard, honestly. I think I do okay. So I don't know. I'm a bad judge of things about myself, guys. So I enjoyed the first Heavenly Chaos. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. Well, Guardian, as you can see there, we do have a date for book two. Book two has been written for about a year now. Its time in editing is coming up, so we will continue rolling with it. I am actually currently writing through Heavenly Chaos 3 because even though I'm ahead of schedule, I decided to keep my writing rotation going. My alpha readers have been reading through that. One or more of them might or might not say anything regarding that. But honestly, I really enjoy Heavenly Chaos. It's right up there with Aethers on for me. Complete ease of just listening to the characters. Um, but there's not. Aethers is starting to get there where the plot is going. The thread of the story is going to start getting more and more complicated as things goes on. But it's not like Emerita divided. It's not quite as complicated in my opinion. But I just listen to my characters and tell you what they tell me. I had a comment from a fan on Patreon who was looking at the Lux Voice chapters, and they asked me for um, more conflict for the book that you guys are going to be getting soon through their preview chapters. And I'm sorry. I don't instill, I don't add conflict in there just to make something more exciting. I just tell you what my characters tell me. If that's 30 chapters with no conflict, guys, that's what it is. Overall, I still enjoy it. Still enjoy what I've done with it. So I've been looking forward to the next Heavenly Chaos since you finished the first one, Draw. I mean, I understand. I was that way when I was writing it, so I fully understand. I look forward to the next book of whatever I'm writing. I almost made the mistake when I finish writing Heavenly Chaos 3. I was in my head. I was already like gearing up of okay, I'm gonna have to start writing Lux Voice 9. So I was, letting the thoughts percolate in the back of the head for that, and it struck me the other day that's wrong. The next book after Heavenly Chaos is supposed to be Antecedents, so I need to shelf those thoughts, jot out any notes that I think will help when I get to it. But I need to start percolating idea for Antecedents 4, not Lux Voice 9. Hey Brian, glad you can make it. It is your first live chat, sir. That is perfectly fine. Welcome in. I am doing this via StreamYard. I am not over on Twitch. I use the other one, this one, because Twitch took away Twitch Studio Beta, which is what I used to interface with them. Thanks, guys. Apparently, there wasn't enough demand for it, um, and I don't want to have to learn OBS. And two, I occasionally have somebody join me, like Andy will sometimes join me on these, and this is how I was able to do that before. So it is what it is now. Oh, let's see. I have to say that my favorite quote of the day is something that reminded me of Sean. Don't let your life become a trashy romance novel I would enjoy reading. So what you're saying, Apollo, is don't let your life become commandeered by some kind of like monster, edgy dark lord who just wants you to be happy. I mean, I'm not going to say you should or shouldn't. That's completely up to you. I myself am going to resist the urge to have an edgy dark lord monster guy telling me what to do. That's not my kink. If it's yours, that's fine. But yeah, I'd probably stay away from the trashy romance novel um, ideal myself. I like to think that I write slightly better than trashy romance levels. I could just, of course, be lying to myself. Would not be the first time. Won't be the last. But somehow I'm still okay with that. So, meh. There are a couple other things, guys, I want to mention out before I get back to more questions so you guys can percolate more for me. Um, Lit RPG is going to have its first DragonCon certified event. We had Lit RPG Under the Sea last year, which was adjacent to DragonCon. Um, Talk happened, and there's going to be a sanctioned Lit RPG gathering, I want to say, at this year's DragonCon. I don't have all of the details for myself yet, but I do have it on good authority that an event is going to be taking place at DragonCon for the Lit RPG crowd. I believe that the space that they're looking at holds like 500 people. So I'm fairly certain it's going to have to be, like some people will probably be having to be like held at the door until other people leave, because when we did the Lit RPG Under the Sea event, there were a bit more than 500 people there. Um, so we'll see how it pans out. I expect it to shock the uh, the people of DragonCon into realizing just how popular the genre is. I myself will be there for part of that event, probably the early part of it, because I am a growing boy, and I need to make sure that I get my regularly scheduled dinner in. Otherwise, I will lose my spelt roundness that I've worked so hard to attain. And I can't allow that. I put a lot of time and money into this belly, and I'd like to keep it. Thank you. But there is going to be an event there. I will be there. So if you are attending DragonCon, you should be aware and look forward to this event. As far as I know, like all the Lit RPG authors who are attending pros, and even some who couldn't get their attending pro badge from DragonCon, will also be there. So this will be a big thing for all of the fans, not just mine, but all of the fans, to show up. Um, I'm sure more information will be coming out over the next month because, of course, we're only like a month and a half away from DragonCon. Um, there is supposed to be a silent auction for the event. I know that. I will be putting up a set of challenge coins for the silent auction. So if you want everything up to Heavenly Chaos in the way of challenge coins, and you haven't been able to win them, and you're going to DragonCon, I'm putting up a full set for that silent auction. So it's the only because I don't sell them. I wanted them to be giveaways, but I'm like, you know what? I do have some serious fans who really wanted the coins, and if you're there and you're attending, this is gonna be your chance. Um, the other thing I should mention is that the wow, I just blanked on it. It's the convention that's going to be in Vegas this year. Did I write it down? Did I write? Please tell me I wrote the name of the convention down. Author Nation. The Author Nation convention in Vegas in November. Hang on. Um, it's not all open to the public and type stuff, but the last day, the 15th of November, guys, is when Author Nation is doing their rave event, which you can buy a ticket for. And that is basically their big meet and greet section for like all the authors who have reserved a table, so you can go in and talk to them and get things signed. That is going to happen in on the 15th of November if you get a rave ticket for the Author Nation convention. They're doing something different where they will produce the paperbacks if we basically give them the files, and you'll be able to pre-order them for that event. So whatever books I put up, I think at the moment I only have Heavenly Chaos up in their store, but you'd be able to order like a copy of Heavenly Chaos from them, which then means it's guaranteed to be at my table when I'm there. So when you show up, I can sign the copy for you and give it to you. All you have to do is like show me that I think it's the receipt on your phone showing that you bought it. And I'm going to be looking at trying to get some of the other books up. I am not putting my whole catalog up there, guys. I looked the other day and it's almost 60 books deep at this point. Um, but I'll probably look at doing like first book of a couple different series. Um, just to spread it out for various people. For those who are thinking of attending the Author Nation Rave Day, that would be a chance for you to get a signed book from me, where you can get your ticket, get the books, pay for it all, and then all you have to do is show up, come to the table. I'll sign it off. I'll talk to you, and it'll be nice and easy. And then the last thing, which is still in like the distance planning stage, is I know that there was talk among some people in the genre about doing like a Denver Lit RPG convention next year. Like I said, it's still early stages, guys. But for those West Coasters who don't want to go all the way to Atlanta, it might be something to look at. Of course, when I get more information, I will notify all of you. So there we go. Some more information for you. And I see that I have some questions waiting for me. So this will work out nicely. Yes, nicely. So let's see here. Did you mention what the next series that will be slotted in after LV? I have not, CB. I have not. I have lots of ideas, guys. That's not the problem. However, I have been considering slowing down a little bit in one regard. I have been considering dropping to three book rotation instead, 3 series rotation. And if I did that, then I would solidify it to be every 2 months for a book. So every series would get 2 books a year, guaranteed then. As opposed to I think I publish 6 to 7 books a year currently, where you don't quite get like 2 books out of every series that way. I've considered it. It would make scheduling easier, especially for like my audio stuff that goes through Podium. So it is a consideration. It does mean like I publish one less book a year, which is some financial drawback to doing so. It does ease the schedule a little bit for like my editors and stuff because there's not such a we have to keep going. For me, it's easy. I write 1 chapter a day. For my editors, it's a little more intense because they have to take my gibberish and turn it into what you guys read. Because if you saw my raw text, you'd understand. Um, I've considered it. I'm not sold. I still have other series I can easily keep my 4 series rotation going for. So it is something I have to figure out by the time I publish Lux Voice 9, which will be like roughly about 8 months from now. So it's July, so it'll be 5, end of the year, January, February, March. We'd be looking roughly at like Marchish for the next Lux Voice, and then it would be 8 months after that before I would publish the next series in that same spot, which would be like November of next year. Would be November of 25, roughly. So I got time to figure out what it is I am looking forward to do myself. But it is news, and I thought that I would pass that along to all of you. I do try to keep you guys updated. It's one of the reasons I do these, because talking to people, even when it's over the internet and I'm just looking at myself on a screen, is still a lot of spoons from me when I just like to stay in my cave and roll my face back and forth across my keyboard. So, yeah, it's a thing. That is as far as I am aware, Rain. Now you have me concerned. Now you have me concerned, and I need to go check something because I'm concerned, which is which is which is terrible. Uh, okay, I would be able to find it here. So let me scroll. AR, Heavenly Chaos, Antecedents, Lux Voice. So yes, correct. To answer your question, you are correct, sir. So, yay, I've answered something. Go me. No, Evangel. I don't plan to attend. I'm not a Twitch guy. I'm not a Twitch person. I'm not a Twitch streamer really. I've used Twitch for the live chats because it was easier than continuing to deal with Facebook's fucked up um, chat system that they had. But it's not like I stream. What I stream once a month for like 2 hours. Um, so no, I'm not like a Twitch affiliate or anything. I wouldn't plan anything for TwitchCon. If for whatever reason I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start streaming, video games a couple times a week. I'm gonna get that affiliate, sweet affiliate money of the $3 that I could make off my little bit of gaming and whatnot. Sure, I probably would, but otherwise, no. Let's see. Uh, Show. Have they asked you to attend any panels yet? So DragonCon, I've had Minimal interaction with the Apocalypse track. Um, I have not been asked for any of their panels yet. They have a new track director coming in this year, I believe, and things are in flux there. Honestly, the only like Apocalypse setting I've really had was Apocalypse Gates, and with that series closed, I'm not sure that that is a track that I could give a lot of information to. If I ever get around to doing my Grafting Demon series, then once again I would be like, yeah, okay, that's kind of an apocalypse setting ish. I would be okay with it. The only panel that I have been confirmed for so far is an alternate history panel that is dealing with the Old West. Because I'm like, cool. I have an entire series around like an alternate Old West. Sign me up. I'm assuming somebody knew that because they reached out to me first. As well, I mean, it's DragonCon panels. That's how that works. But I mean, they did it like early. I think it was like a month or so ago. They reached out to me. Were like, "Hey, we're doing this panel. Do you want to be on it?" Cool. You guys are fine with elves and magic and stuff, and then cool. I'll join in on that. I have something that actually fits for once. I've been on panels where I've wondered why I've been there. So luckily, this one I would at least understand. I saw in the news there was a cricket. So not at my home, Paul. Not at my home. We did not have a cricket epidemic. Words are hard. Take it from me. I use them every day at my house. However, the hairdresser, pedicurist, manicurist place that me and Sammy go to every couple of weeks. Oh my God! There were piles of bodies. Like I don't want to like over exaggerate, but there were lines of them like under things that they hadn't quite swept into yet, but there were good dustpan piles. I'm not talking like, oh, I need a dustpan to get these. I mean like this is gonna fill the dustpan. Piles of dead crickets in there. So not at my house, but I did see part of the cricket epidemic. This is one of the reasons I will never narrate an audiobook. But I did see some people going through that. So something something to look at, something to look forward to. So uh, I think I'm taking these out of order, but that's okay. Is there a specific number of spheres that are in heaven's chaos? Is there a list of them? No, there's not a list. I'm an after action reporter, Harp. So you're aware. You might not know. I tell you the story my characters tell me. I am not a grand plotter. I don't like I'm never gonna give you uh a Silmarillion. I'm never gonna give you the history book of how the world was built. Um if it doesn't involve my characters themselves, it's not an event you're probably ever gonna see in the series. So like every sphere that's out there, how many of them, those kinds of things, I'm never going to be able to answer that question. I deal with what's in front of me. Um, like I know that metal is a sphere, but I only know that because Denton showed up and Denton told me. So um, everybody has two sphere slots. Body and soul is what they've been referred to, but those don't quite correlate as some people would think they would. And then there are bloodlines to round off the three most important things that a cultivator could have or a holder could have. Um, and then, of course, as we've discussed, the number three being a very powerful number for the heavens. But no, I do not have a list of them. If it is something that can encompass a broad range of things, it probably has one. But the ones I can think of off the top of my head that we've talked about: space, metal, mind, fire. And if fire's there, you got to figure that like ice is there, wind is there, water is going to be there. those, I mean, it's got to be a broad concept. Regeneration was there. Poison in all of its multifacets is there. There's a lot that can be given over, but it has to be broad enough that it can affect a wide range of things for somebody. If it's very niche, it's probably not a sphere. There's probably a skill associated to the idea that you think is going to be there though. So I hope that answers it for you. What was your inspiration for Heavenly Chaos? Like 50 some odd cultivation series that are out there. I still have Aethers, which is Western cultivation, basically. I always call it Magic Academy cultivation because that's what it was. That's what it started as. But it's not. It's not any kind of traditional cultivation. Heavenly Chaos was the idea of dungeon cultivation. I wanted a little more of the cultivation aspects, spheres that can affect, how you grow your powers specifically. A bloodline, because there's always some kind of great beast that helps, that was in the ancestry or something that helps influence things, and then skills. But I didn't want the massively bloated character sheets that you get out of some cultivation novels. I'm not going to call any specific ones out because that's not who I am. But if you've read through cultivation, you've seen them where the character sheet, because it lists 50, 60 skills and these 30 powers, and oh, by the way, he was this bloodline, but it evolved into these other 12, and I never read them. Like in the first, book or two, when they're a page or two long, cool. But when you're on book like 9 and they stretch literally a full chapter by themselves, and not because, hey, I should make this a chapter, but because that's like 5,000 words of just shadow leap, rank 15, knife fighting, rank 13, and it just keeps going, and not like spaced out down where you can read them clearly, but literally just knife fighting 13, comma, shadow leap 19, comma, and that just, you have like 15 pages of that before it ends. I don't read them, honestly. Um, you lose a lot of things for me. There are people out there that absolutely want that. I do not. It's the same with stats. When your strength, it when your strength at the start is like 12, and you get to 50 strength, and now you can punch a tree down with one fist. Cool. But when your strength is now 50,063, what does that mean anymore? Like, if you punch the island, does it sink? I mean, at what point do the numbers stop mattering? Which is also why I'm trying to keep I set out to keep the numbers static-ish, while also making them matter but not getting silly for Heavenly Chaos. And we'll see how I do with it as the series progresses. But I wanted things to matter to a degree without overflowing. Um, I know a lot of people have read Heavenly Chaos and have looked at Path of Ascension and said, "Hey, there's a lot of similarities here." And you know what? I love Path of Ascension, and there are some similarities there. I look at it and see the vast differences that are there, though, myself. Um, there's also some similarities to other. I'm terrible with names, guys. There's a reason why I have spreadsheets for names, and I have a book of names for names, because I'm terrible with them. There are other series that people have come to me and said, "Hey, this series is kind of like, why?" And yeah, probably. We're all influenced by the things we love. Path of Ascension probably had a little more influence than any of the other series out there. There's actually a nod to Path of Ascension in book 2. Um, because after people were like, "Hey, this looks, there looks like," I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I can see it." I'm not fighting that. There's some similarities there. I think there's a vast difference there too. Um, my character doesn't have unlimited mana, doesn't have a ice fox companion, so on and so forth. There's a vast difference there. The things that they have in common is they're both big men and they both like to cook. And then the rough framework is vaguely similar. Um, but I see the differences. But when people mention that, I'm like, you know what? I have a perfect spot to give a nod to this because I had a character in book. I have a character in book two. But I'm like, you know what? People who love Path of Ascension will get this. We'll get this nod. So cool. This works and it makes me happy. I like nods. Uh, okay, I read that one, so I can. While mowing the yard this weekend, I had one of my characters yelling at me for an hour about what's going on with her son. So that was different. I mean, Mistbinder, sometimes it happens. Um, very few of my characters have ever had adult children. In fact, I can't think of any of my characters that have had adult children. I've ended a lot of series didn't have adult children. That was Alpha World going into Dungeon Walkers. But from a series standpoint, where your character was telling you about like what was going on with their son, I didn't have a character who was like, "Hey, this is what's going on with my son." That was the son saying, "Hey, this is my life." Um, but I mean, it could happen. Does it weave into the story? I am a I'm a stickler on points of view. I give omniscient third person, but I try to keep it contained around the main character. Sometimes the camera will be on a scene with stuff going on as the main character arrives, and sometimes the camera stays there as the main character leaves for more discussion to happen. But I rarely go, "Hey, here's a chapter of Daciana dealing with a Krogan incursion." That's not the story. The story is Greg's. So that's sorry for 1 second, guys. I have to answer this. Um, that's where my story stays. It stays with Greg, but that's just because I'm an after action reporter. If I was a plotter, it would probably be different. Sorry, my tattoo artist was reminding me that I have a scheduled tattoo tomorrow. So for those people who are wondering, okay, I did that one. I can mark that one off. You do seem more comfortable with relating AR and Heavenly Chaos than the other stories. There, there are two of the stories that came to me and yelled loud enough that I started writing them before I had a slot for them. Maybe that's why. The third one is Antecedents Legacy. That's kind of niche. That's mecha sci-fi. The other two are much broader based. They're heavy fantasy series, so they have a bigger pull. As I've told other authors before who've told me about whatever story they have, whatever story idea they've had. If that's what you want to write it. Just know that the more niche you make something, the less of a broad appeal it's going to have to an audience. Um, for instance, I loved Hondo Jinx's Fight Town. Loved it. He even said that he wrote it partially because Aethers inspired him, and that's amazing. And I loved everything about it, but it was very much a boxing lit RPG, which makes it a heavy niche. So it it wasn't a groundbreaking series for him in the term of numbers. Um, but that's because it was a niche book. Um, I still loved it, and I've tried to get a hold of him a couple times to be like, so Kickstarter book 3, I'd back it, dude. But I've never I've never been able to get a hold of him. So, Andra, if you're out there trolling at the moment or watching this later because somebody pointed you at it, if you like did a Kickstarter for the next Fight Town, I would totally throw some serious money at you. Just saying, if that helps. Okay, I've answered this question. Yes, I was ahead of you for once. Would you ever have your editors on with you, or do they like pulling the strings like like the puppet masters they are? I don't think either of my editors want to join a live chat. Honestly, guys, this is me answering questions and rambling incessantly while I try to not implode. Um, Having Andy on here because she does the narration gives me a chance to spin off and basically thrust the spotlight on her in a way that's going to matter. I am not sure that either of my editors want to be. If they came to me and said, "Hey, I'd like to do a live chat with you," I would totally have them on. But I don't think either of them would want to. If that makes sense to you. It is a normal stream, Dark Ginger. This is the monthly live chat. I try to hold it on the 15th of every month. I can honestly say right now, guys, the November live chat when I get there is going to be after the 15th because the 15th is the rave when I'm at a convention. So yes, it's not going to happen that. It's going to happen after that when I get home from convention. But I try to hold it on or around the 15th, and I'm normally fairly good at holding it on the 15th. Pacific Standard Time. Let's be fair, because it's the 16th to some people already. Um, but normal. It's just the fact that I put up a pre-order going into this one. So, do you have the Heavenly Chaos coin yet? Rain, I do not have a Heavenly Chaos coin that I'm giving out yet. The design for the Heavenly Chaos coin gives away too much information. So it's not yet. I am planning to have those up and ready for people to start winning when book 2 comes out. So as we see here near the end of the year, there you go, Heavenly Chaos 2, Fighting Past Pain, November 25th. Around that after that, so end of the year, December live chat and afterwards is when those will be available for people to win. If you win today or next month or the month after that and you're like, I want to hold on and wait for the Heavenly Chaos coin, not applicable. Not allowing it. One, I won't remember and I'll feel terrible. Two, I won't remember and you'll remind me and then I'm still going to feel terrible. Three, too much information is given away with that coin, which is why the people who do have it have been told very, very strictly, if information about this coin comes out before I am ready for it, I will be removing you from your officer status. Period. At that point, it would be a break of trust, and I don't handle those well. So I got one coin from Alpha World, and I'm super happy. It was my first Lit RPG series. Got to catch them all. Well, Brian, that means you need to attend the live chats, and then you can also get my big giveaways in October from when I was my publication, my first book publication date, and then my full-time publication giveaway that's in May. I do two big blowouts in October and May, and those are held across multiple platforms: Facebook, Discord, so on. So you have multiple chances to win on those, and I give away coins, but one lucky winner in each of those also gets to be a red shirt. So Paul Vatakavich, I think I probably butchered his name, but that happens. Who I think is still here, got one of the red shirts. That's why he ended up as uh, a wine cellar. There you go, Paul. He ended up as a wine cellar in Aethers because he won one of the contests. He won one of the red shirt names. So that is something to look forward to. I'm waiting for a con up north. Mistbinder, I'm assuming by up north you mean America's Hat? Are you in Canada? Because I am not sure I am going to be doing a con in Canada anytime soon. As it is, guys, I'm doing Dragon Con because I will continue to do Dragon Con. I am probably going to go back to Jordan Con, which is also held in Atlanta, but in the spring, where my sinuses tried to murder me last year. I will plan better for that next year. And then if the Lit RPG convention does happen in Denver at some point, I will see about also making that one. Conventions outside of those, I am not sure that I will attend them. I have thought about Gen Con at least because that's game centric and Lit RPG and games kind of go hand in hand. So I could probably make a tie in there for it. But honestly, conventions kill me because it takes me out of my comfort space of my cave. So I try to hit the ones that I feel passionate about. Oh my god, that is a long one. Okay, Harp, hang on. I've noticed that all your series have some different cultural themes as part of the setting. Lux Voice is a Western, AR is influenced by Far Eastern, and of course, Antecedents is more of a hodgepodge of things. Have you written or do you ever plan to write something in, say, Middle or Dark Age European? So you're talking more standard fantasy then, because when people say that kind of thing, that's what you're talking about. You're talking run of the mill standard fantasy settings are by and large like Central Europe or Western to Central Europe settings. They're in the Fox Germany or the Fox England. Fox, folks, fake, faux. It's FAUX is faux. Fucking French, man. As somebody with part French blood in them, what the fuck, guys? There's a reason I don't talk about being French very often with my heritage. Because good gods. Seriously. I forgot what I was saying. The standard fantasy setting is in that like Germanic central western setting. Dark forests, dreary, overcast, might be set in England or an island kind of like Ireland or, off the coast near Scotland or something along those lines. Very rarely you'll have something set in like France or Italy. But a lot of fantasy is set in that medieval Europe setting. Um, wow. I think I just talked myself around. Hang on a second. Um, for along those lines, Harp, Last Horizons is like very just middle of the road fantasy in that regard, with the even with the game system set up around it. I mean, Apocalypse Gates was America, modernish day America, 2000 America. Um, let's see. Do, 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 do. I mean, you could make a statement that Resurrection Quest was kind of like Middle Dark Ages Europe setting, even though it was more of a tabletop, generic tabletop setting. But no, I don't go into anything like, you know what I want to write. I want to write like 1300 Germany. That's because that's not how I write. Normally, something like, hey, what if we took the idea of mages having to go through an academy because they have an empire that you know controls their society, but they're brought up to basically be engines of war. They're taught to defend and to attack with their magic. And they might live, they might die. It's not going to matter too much to the empire. If they live, they'll live for hundreds or thousands of years. It'll be fine. We can always get some more. Um, Kind of like a base idea, and then like, well, what would that main character look like? And then I get Gregory, and then Gregory pops up into my head and goes, "So, you're not gonna believe this shit, But let me tell you how it started. And then you get Aethers. So, but I normally don't try to like, and I want to write a Jamaica story. I want to write a Pirates of the Caribbean story. It's not how I normally work. So, do you have a favorite magic type in AR? No, there are a lot that I would favor. Personally, space would be fun. Being able to teleport, I mean, just useful. Shadow magic, and especially with some of the things you guys are going to see in the next like coming book or two with Yuki, a lot of fun. I mean, would be entertaining. Um, Foresight for Gregory is one of those. I like the concept. I mean, Gregory has foresight. I really enjoy the concept. But you've also seen where Gregory runs into roadblocks because foresight with foresight you have to decide when you're going to write something like foresight is free will versus fate or predetermination basically. Is the future set? Can the future be changed? And yes, I am part Italian. Go figure. I'm talking with my hands again. So I love foresight in that hey, you can kind of see what's coming. But unless it can be changed, then it's all predetermined. And then in which case you don't have free will. Because how would I know what you're going to do if you have free will? If you decided to suddenly change plans throughout the day and I looked at foresight and your plan had been Y, but now it's X, my foresight shouldn't account for that. Now, foresight for Gregory is basically this is the highest probability of events that is going to happen, which I've tried to make clear. I don't know if I've made it clear enough. But then there are those. I'm going to leave it there. Going to leave it there. The next book isn't out yet. I'm leaving it there. There's a lot of magics I would find fun. I really enjoyed Daciana being upset about her magic to start with, and then later being like, "Hey, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. This could be cool." So, meh. I hope that answers your question. A 3 or a 4 book rotation, it doesn't matter so long as a new book comes out. As I love all the series. I mean, too tall. A new book is. I have been very consistent on a new book always coming out between 6 to 8 weeks. If I did, like I said, if I dropped to a 3 book rotation, it would be a very firm set. It would be like every even or odd month on the first of one of those months, and I would make it firm. So if I went, let me think about this right now. Dragon Con is held in September. It's always held basically the first Monday of September is Dragon Con. It's Labor Day, always is, which is odd. It's 9. So if I did that, I would make them even months because unless I did pre-orders, if I did pre-orders, I could actually do odd months. Anyway, I would pick a month, even or odds, and it would release on the first, and it would be every 2 months. Then you would get another book, and it would be set. You would always know, hey, every odd month or every even month on the first, Shinofin has a new book coming out. There would no longer be any questions. I wouldn't be pushing them out earlier. It would always be set, steady, easy to understand. You would know. Where now I'm like, okay, it's done. It's through editing. It's good. Normally I throw it right out to you guys. This time I put up a pre-order. I've had some questions about pre-orders, so I'm going to be testing pre-orders on and off for the next couple books to see if I can gauge if it helps any in the matter of like sales and rankings and how it comes out to everyone. But I mean, I've been fairly consistent on getting books out, I would say. So if I went to 3 books, you would still have a consistency. It would just be a different consistency. And I'm not sure that was even the question anymore. See, guys, this is what happens when you take a true introvert and say, talk to people. The fact that there are 56 people here currently is freaking mind-boggling to me. And I actually have 34 questions to get to that might my moderators have kindly pulled out of everything you guys have said to help me continue this. Instead of a coin for AL, I wish it was a metal sport. Brian, the challenge coins were a thing that when it started was going to be self-perpetuating. Well, the cult of the spork is mighty. It was not mighty enough to change the fact that it was going to be a challenge coin. I've worked with one company for my challenge coins. They've been consistent. They've given me good quality. Going out of the way to try to find someone who could give me like an engraved spork instead would have been a lot more effort and time trying to find a company. Are they good quality? Can I trust them to get me the things that they say they're going to get me, and so on and so on and so on. If you ever want a rare challenge coin, though, one that most people don't have, I'm going to say it's very, very simple. Get a Resurrection Quest coin. Oop, I just pulled down whatever that was. It was somebody saying goodbye. Thank you. Much as I love these chats, I got to get at least 4 hours of sleep. Mistbinder, no problem. Thank you for coming in. Check your Twitch messages tomorrow or the day after. If you have a message from me, you're one of the winners. I'm going to need your shipping address and which of the coins you're going to want from any of my series except Heavenly Chaos. There we go. I get why you don't stream gaming, but watching you be a force of chaos is something. See, that's the thing, Drigus. I'm not the force of chaos in Baldur's Gate 3. My girlfriend and Andy, who I've played Baldur's Gate 3 with, they're the chaos goblins. I am a slow tactical thinker. There's a reason I love turn-based strategy games. I like to take my time and think about what I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it. That's why I like turn-based strategy games. They both just do stuff. I have saved us from numerous wipes after they've done things. Because that's the way I work. And they know they can get away with it. There's been one time where I was like, oh, I didn't mean to do this. And they found that hysterical. So, but I don't do chaos. I do very, very critical thinking. I was just reminded that it has been an hour since we've started. I might want to think about doing a recap of just information. So Antecedents Legacy 3 was the last book released. It did what Antecedents does. It didn't do great. It didn't do poorly. It was just good. The audio for that is currently being recorded by Andy. It'll get turned over to Podium, and then it'll be in Podium's hands, guys. And as soon as they give me a pre-order date and stuff, I will let you know. The next book out, of course, there's a pre-order for Emerita Divided. It'll come out on the 17th of this month, so just this coming Wednesday. So you can jump on that at your earliest convenience. Aether Survival 9 Empire's Orders is looking at late September to come out. Something that I have been looking forward to. You will probably understand the title when you read it. And then currently we are also looking at Heavenly Chaos 2 coming in at the end of November, which is Fighting Past Pain, which is a double title for me. You'll understand when you read it probably. Or you already know if you've read the first one and you can critically think. So audio-wise, Andy's doing AL3. It's going to be with Podium. We have no ETA. Lux voice, guys, it's going to get slotted into Andy's schedule somewhere, but her schedule is packed currently. Like, beyond packed. Like, she is doing her best to get through things. So I do not have, in any way, shape, or form, an ETA on audio for that. So I'm sorry. That is just where we are for that right now. So that is the recap. Saying hi from Norway at 3 a.m. Well, Ash, thank you for being here at 3 a.m. I hope the weather there is nice because it's been hot as balls here in America. The heat waves going across the U.S. have been brutal. I live in the desert, so I'm quasi used to it, but even we've had some record temperatures going through. But thank you for joining us at 3 a.m. I mean that is dedication. I hope you win a challenge coin. We will find out together later. I really look forward to finding out more about Bloodlines and Heavenly Chaos. Me too, Drigas. Me too. I can't say anything more than that. I mean, I could, but I'm never going to. You're not getting spoilers out of me. At what level do you see the MC traveling to a different world in Heavenly Chaos? I mean, Rain, it's been stated. Even in book one, it was kind of hinted at. In book two, it's even more basically flatly said. But if you read through book one again, you'll see where it's said what level they should be looking at leaving that world. So, how often do your characters surprise you? It depends, Tech. If you mean like a small surprise, or if you mean a Sean life bonding the entire staff surprise. Hi, Sean. I know you're never going to watch this back, but hi, buddy. Um, big surprises. Twice that I can think of, where the character did something just completely I didn't expect. The one that made it to publication was Sean and the Staff and the Life Bonds. The other one, which did not make it to publication, which was Alvin being a fucking paladin instead of the lovable asshole he was supposed to be. So I can think of two times where a big enough surprise happened that that it actually stands out all the way. If Andrea can pronounce your words, so can't you. You're right, Ruff. So can't I. I cannot. So you are 100% correct with that statement, and I'm not letting you take it back. In Heavenly Chaos, will this bloodline be known by book two, or will it be later? It depends on what your definition of known is, CB. I'm gonna pull a Clinton here. What is your definition of is? Because that statement will always forever make me chuckle. The fact that a sitting president basically said that depends on what your definition of is. But I mean, most politicians are lawyers, so it makes sense. But it really does depend on what your definition of known is. And if you think I'm giving you spoilers, are there any panels at the con you wish you could host? I don't want to host anything too tall. Good God, do not make me a moderator. That's terrifying. I think my heart rate just hit freaking 200. Ugh. Ew. Making me a host. Are there any panels at the con that you would like to host? No, I don't want to be a moderator of any of them. Sitting on a panel is gut wrenching enough for me, but moderating one? No. Good gods. Oh. Nah. Are there any other panels I would like to be on? I don't know because I haven't seen what the panel list for Dragon Con is going to be. Honestly, they don't put it out until like just before the con. I would like to be on some of the lit RPG panels. I'm sure they'll have. I know that I am a dirty filthy harem writer. I hang on. I proudly take the title there. I am not ashamed of what I write. But I also feel that I get slightly looked over in the greater lit RPG community sometimes because I am a dirty filthy harem writer, which is fine. Daniel is a pants writer, flying by the seat of your pants. Too tall. I call myself an after-action reporter. I just take the notes from my characters, what they told me they've done, and then I pass along the story to the rest of you. If time and keyboard face smashing weren't a factor, how many series do you have that you could throw at us? Infinite? I mean, if time isn't a factor, then in theory, I could write every story. Nice try, Kuma. Nice try. I don't have one there. I had a, what does your shirt say? One of my editors pointed this out to me on Amazon, so I bought it. That that is what my shirt says. I know that is from half an hour ago, but I've answered the question. Being a writer, you can't please every reader, but you sure piss them off. I mean, yeah, fair. Very fair. Nervous energy. Heavenly Chaos was incredible. I hope it's selling well. Ended without really ending, but for us that expect slice of life, it's fine. Newcomers might have been confused. I did have a few people who were very confused about where it ended. And I knew right away that they were people who had not read any of my other books, which is perfectly fine. That might turn them off buying book two, or they'll buy it just because they want to know what happened next. Um, when you read book two, guys, you'll understand. I had comments at the end of Aethers 4. Well, why didn't you just include the Buldoon tournament in this book? If you've read Aethers 5, you know why I didn't just include the tournament. Because Aethers 5 was by itself a whole nother book. For those people who say, well, we'd be fine with that big of a book, that means every other series is being pushed back. Because it'll take twice as long to write, twice as long to edit, which means it'll take you a whole nother section until the next book comes out from me. It's not like it's that time is just going to magically, fix itself. Heavenly Chaos was neck and neck with Aethers in how good book one was received. So I have a lot of hope for Heavenly Chaos continuing. I've just realized. Oh, hang on, guys. There we go. I just realized how spoiled we are by your writing schedule, and just want to thank you, Artron. Thank you for being a fan, guys. I do these to give back to you because all of you have given me the luxury of pursuing this idea of telling the stories in my head, of not working for anyone other than myself, and just sharing the stories in my head. That's why I do these live chats, guys. This is my giving back to you in thanks. Which I don't know if you guys see it in the same degree I do, because for me this is a big thing. Because it's so far out of my comfort zone. What are you getting for your tattoo? Well, CB, I'm getting something that goes along with Heavenly Chaos. And that's all you're getting from me. Why did you choose the Naginata in Aethers? What Gregory told me he wanted, honestly. Once again, guys, I'm just an after action reporter. I just tell you what my characters tell me. I am a fan, I will say, of weapons where you have some distance between you and the next guy. Spears, pole arms, naginatas. Anything that gives you more reach normally means you'll live far more often than that guy, than the next guy. But I just tell you what my characters tell me. I mean, Ben uses a hammer. I'm trying to remember where I left off book one. I can't remember. Yeah, I mean, he's not using a pole arm. He has a melee weapon and a shield. Atropos is using 2 commas. Um, I just report what they tell me. I don't set out with, you know what I really want to do? I want to make a character that uses X weapon. It's not how I write. Made the live chat. Can't wait for the next LV book. Very happy to get one from a favorite series of mine. Well, Timus, I'm glad that you enjoy Lux Boys. Book 9 will end the series, though. So please enjoy them while they're here. What conventions are you going to this year? So the next two the last 2 conventions this year, Mr. Squigs, are Dragon Con on Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, where it has been held for like the last 40 years or something. And then I will be there for the fan interaction rave for the Author Nation convention in Las Vegas on the 15th of November. Those will be the last 2 conventions this year. Next year, I will probably attend JordanCon, which is in Atlanta, and it's in the spring. And I will plan better to deal with the fact that my allergies will try to kill me. If a lit RPG convention happens in Denver in like the summer, I will attend that because it'll be a lit RPG convention. I will go back to DragonCon next year, and then I will determine whether or not I'm going back to Author Nation in 2025 or not, based off of this year. I hope that answers your question. Hey DJ, did you play GoFest this weekend? If so, how did you do? Phantom, funny story. So for those who don't know, I play Pokemon Go. One of my girlfriends plays Pokemon Go as well. The Go Fest was held in New York this year, but you can get a ticket for doing basically event type stuff, even if you're not at the event itself. I live in Pahrump, Nevada. It is relatively a small town. It's not really small anymore. It's over 30,000 people. It's spread out over a vast valley. But it's mostly a small town. It's got small town feel to it all over the place. And if you understand what that means, you know. And if you don't worry about it. But Pokemon Go is very much centered more towards city players. Small town players have a hard time completing some things because we don't have the numbers. We don't have as many Pokestops in the condensed city format that a lot of other people do. When me and my girlfriend went out on Saturday, we're like, we'll do the best we can. We'll send out remote raid invites. Hopefully we can get a few people from the server to join us. And if you're on Discord, guys, there's a Pokemon Go channel. If you put your friend information in that and then pin it, those of us who play can add you as a friend. And then, when we do raids and stuff, we try to send out invites to those people we know who are active. We ping the Pokemon role on the server in that channel when we're looking to see if other people want to do like a raid. So we go out to the local park, one of two parks that have a decent amount of stops. They got like 2 gyms, a couple of other spins. They're decent, especially for a small town. We show up and we're thinking we'll have to try to get people. We hit Discord with, hey, we're looking to do raids, guys. Is anyone interested? Nobody on the server responds. So we're like, well, hell, maybe we're not going to be able to do this. And that's when my girlfriend notices that one of the raids there at the park suddenly has people in it. We're like, cool. There are other people out doing this. It happens so infrequently when we go out try to do events that we're like, great, we'll jump in. We jump in. There's like 10 or 12 of us. That's a huge amount normally for us doing a local thing. Cool, we do it. Well, the raids were spawning like they were only up for like 20 minutes, but they'd respawn like 5 minutes after that. So we finish that one. We drive down to where the other one is, and I notice a couple other cars are doing the same thing. So we all park. We jump into the next raid. oh, cool, there's a few of us. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna follow these guys. I'm gonna tail along. Maybe they're gonna do more. Sure enough, we complete the raid, and like three cars all head in the same direction. I pull out behind them. We go on down to the next place. Now there had been like 12 of us. So when we get to the next place, there are a couple other cars already parked there. So now there's 14 of us, and we keep doing this for 2 hours. We went from the gym to gym in our small town with a convoy of cars. I want to say there were like 10 cars. We maxed out a number of raids with just 20 people just for 2 hours, just hitting raid after raid. We went through all of the passes they were giving away for free. We hit into the premium passes that we had for I don't know how long. It was a lot of fun because it almost never happens here. But for those people who do Pokemon Go, I do play, and if you have your information over there, I've either already sent you an invite, or if you put it up, I will send you an invite. This way, you can know. Uh, I'm not sure, Sub. That one confused me. What kind of small coin image could be a spoiler for Heavenly Chaos? Well, nervous? You'll find out eventually, probably. Are you ever going to have a cabbage seller? Probably not, Frank. Well, PM, um, pardon my French, I guess. Okay, I've come through a few questions. It might be in the summer, Evangel. Like I said, early stages. There's nothing set. It's just something I'd heard. I don't know if it's happening. Just a thing. Went out to my parents' house. We did fountains out there. That's a pretty standard thing for us Xerox. I actually didn't go off to the shooter site because I was not going out there on the 4th of July this time. Just it gets silly. Let's see, Harp, what you got? Maybe it would be better to address the voices directly. Any of you have a story that has a setting drastically different than what's related to the cultures found on Earth? But honestly, it doesn't really quite work that way. They yell at me when they're ready. If at some point I need to try to grab another line, I'll consider it. How did Skippy become the genre asshat? Well, Brian, I don't know if he's a genre asshat. He is my asshat for one very simple reason, and this goes back to Alpha World. Before Alpha World, there was Last Horizons. There is no Skippy in Last Horizons. Alpha World had a character named Skippy. He ended up being such a colossal dick, was hated so much by the fan base that I was told by many people they wished he would die a lot, like repeatedly get killed. It's one time I gave my fans what they wanted. So now Skippy dies. In every other series I've written, outside of outside of Resurrection Quest, because I didn't get to continue that series forward, I've pretty much so Last Horizons and Resurrection Quest are the only two series I can think of that don't have a Skippy. So there's actually there is actually a joke, guys, in I think it's Antecedents 3, specifically about that, about Skippy being a terrible name. Honest question: if someone were to bring you physical books for you to sign, how many would you sign? If they brought me the books and a writing implement too tall, and they were my books, I'm not signing Dakota's, for instance, I would sign them. That is dedication. You find me at a convention and with a suitcase and like, hey, dude, I got all 60 of your books. I'll sign them. I don't have a problem doing that. I mean, honestly, that is dedication at that point. I will reward that. Is this the Dune Foresight issue? Kind of black. Yeah, the idea when you decide to dabble in the idea of knowing the future, you as a writer need to determine for yourself, is this fact or is this changeable? Because that gives you free will or not. So for me, free will has to be involved. In which case, the future is changeable. When you look at the future, it might not be what you get. I liked how you wrote Foresight giving a high probability during his fight, such it was a nice way of not making it super overpowered. Because people do chaotic things, and that should play into it. It just gives you the highest probability that this is the future. And in some cases, that might be very hard to unravel. And I'll just leave that little tidbit there. Have you thought about putting up pre-orders a month before the book comes out? Rain, I have not yet at this point. There's a lot of debate with some of the authors I know about whether or not pre-orders help or hinder a book release to start with. Okay. But I have noticed, and I am guilty of this, if I am really enjoying a series and I get to the end of that book and that little pop-up from Amazon says, would you like to buy the next one? I, more times than not, get the pre-order of the next book in that series, even if it's going to be 8 months out. So I have considered doing similar. Because I can set it for like it to say that the book is going to release a year from now. Because I can go back in and change the pre-order date. So if I was like, yeah, it's a year from now, but it's really going to be 8 months, I can pull that pre-order date back 4 months, and then those people would get it. Everybody who has it pre-ordered would get an email saying, "Hey, your pre-order date has changed." I don't know if you guys have seen those. They happen. I have considered doing that, especially for beloved series like Aethers. If you're 9 books in with me, guys, you're probably getting book 10. You're probably getting book 11. So being able to give you the chance to like pre-order the next one ahead of time, so it can just show up when it's ready, has a certain appeal. But once again, there's a lot of debate about whether or not pre-orders help or hinder you when it comes to selling the book. Lux Voice is not your most popular series. If you test the pre-order, I think you should make sure that you vary popularity of sales. I mean, Spider, you're 100% correct. Once again, this is something that is in need of testing. Does rereading your books on KU help you at all? Okay, so Evangel, I've answered a variation of this before. And the long and short of it goes, Amazon is as clear as mud when it comes to giving us information we can work with. They don't tell us dick. So the prevailing theory amongst authors I've talked to is that it counts the first time you read it only, period. End of story. I have talked to 1 or 2 authors who have said, no, I think it counts every time. Sorry, it counts every new month if it's read again. I cannot give a definitive answer because Amazon does not give us definitive answers. The prevailing theory, though, is it only counts the very first time you read it, period. So if you pick it back up and reread it again, it does not matter. Which is why some authors have said, hey, if you want to read it on KU, go ahead. If you wanted to help me the next calendar month, go ahead and buy it. Because we know that after a calendar month, if you buy it, I get paid for the pages read and the buy. If you read it in a calendar month, so if I released it on the 3rd of the month, for instance, you read it all the way through, and then you turned around and bought it. As far as we are aware, once again, Amazon doesn't clarify anything for us. They remove the pages read and just give me the sale. Once again, Amazon doesn't tell us dick. That is prevailing theory, and that's all I can tell. That's all I can give you. Lux Voice 9 will be the last one, Paul. If a book doesn't sell well, would you still consider continuing the series at least one book to give us closure? Okay, so PM. The only time I have not done that was Resurrection Quest. The series that I try not to talk about because it still physically pains me to talk about it. That book published, I looked at the numbers recently. I published that book in October of 2019, guys. The books sold, the pages read, combined from then to today do not make up the normal, that same amount for any of my series in the first 30 days. There's a reason why Resurrection Quest was put on the shelf after that one book. Now it's an okay stopping place. It's not a great stopping place, but it was okay. It didn't leave a cliffhanger. Well, didn't leave a terrible cliffhanger like some of my books sometimes have. Dungeon Walkers was underperforming, and I have the numbers myself, but it was okay, dropping off, and by book 4 it was okay, dropping off. Book 3 was, oh, this is not going well. I need to think about ending this before I end up at Resurrection Quest levels. Which is why book 4, Dungeon Walkers, gives you a nice soft ending and ties things in a bow, even though it wasn't the first idea of where I was going to end the series. Because I hate it when a series is left unfinished. Apocalypse Gates made it through book 8, which ended the North America arc that I had planned for that series. But it's unlikely I'm ever going to be able to go back to Apocalypse Gates because of, once again, sales numbers. But I try to tie up series. I don't like to leave them writing there. Which series have you had the most fun writing? Brian, I love everything I've ever written, even Resurrection Quest. So it's not a matter of which of you had the most fun writing. I love all my series. I read all the books when they drop, and again, when Andy gets the audio done, I'll listen. Sel, I appreciate that, man. I really do. How do you win a challenge coins during these chats? Okay, so Brian, at the end of the chats, my moderators will have compiled me a list of names. These are people whose questions I've answered, how comments that have been pulled out that I've commented on. Anybody who's helped prolong the chat that I've interacted with goes on the list. I take 5 names off that list, randomly chosen through my random number generator, and I contact them via Twitch in the message on the whispers, the message basically icon in the upper right hand corner. I message people and say, hey, you're one of the winners. I need your shipping address and which series coin you would like, minus Heavenly Chaos. They give me that information. I put it together. I mail it out to them. I have shipped to multiple foreign countries. I think it was Norway or Denmark was the one who gave me the most grief because they wanted proof that it was a gift. So the person who won it had to basically send them a copy of the Twitch message log showing that, yes, it was a gift. I've had actually one country refuse to accept it, and it was kicked back to me 3 times, and I was just like, I'm really sorry, dude. And I don't remember which country it was now. I'm fairly certain it was one of the South American ones, though. I kind of want the cutting room floor items that don't make it into books. Nope. Favorite Andy bloopers. Frank, I don't have a favorite. Like I've always said, guys, I don't do favorite lists because there's so many good ones. I really enjoyed the Tale of the Keg escape from Aether's One. I know a lot of people love the shit eggs from later Aether books. One of the other recent ones that came out was Daciana saying sploosh. I think it was in book 7. Um, they're just Aethers are easy because a lot of people talk about them. Because Andy riffs off those characters so easily. And my favorite bloopers of her are always when she stays in character. Posey becoming the evil overlord. I don't know if there have been a whole lot of bloopers that have made it there, but when like she's recording on stream, she'll riff on those for Lux voice. Those are amazing. Doc's secret love affair with the deputy sheriffs in the first 4 books that she riffed on stream, but didn't really put them in the looper track. Those were amazing. Whenever she riffs off of a character, and it's not her just trying to make a joke or her just screwing up a line. When one of the bloopers from Aethers is basically Yuki telling Jen to back off my man, bitch, in like book 2, that's hilarious to me because it just sits. Tornado spawning around Chicago. Which character of yours would best defeat this weather? Nessa. She's a wind magi. Would be very simple for her. What panel should they have at cons that you haven't seen? Infinite Monkey. I would honestly say that Dragon Con has not held a narrator panel that featured, funnily enough, narrators. I've seen one where they've had authors and publishers, but I don't remember one where they've had narrators. You know, the people you'd think would be there for a narrator panel. Um, but hey, that's not me. I don't do the big things, guys. I just show up where they tell me to show up. Not at the moment, struggles. I mean, I still have the first book of Grafting Demons done, but it is a dungeon-esque series, and I'm really conflicted about how that would run at the same time as Heavenly Chaos. They're vastly different in how they on all counts, but it is a key component to both series. If I ever wrote my T-shirt into one of my books, I'm not sure I'd wake up in the morning. I might be smothered to death, and not in the fun smothered to death kind of way either. So I'm gonna pass on that idea. Have you ever thought your characters lied to you, like gave you a report that came out in a better light than what probably really happened? No, no, Ash, I don't think so. I like to think that most of my characters are very straightforward. I mean, the only one who probably would have done that would have been Alvin, and if you've read Apocalypse Gates, he didn't really hold back a whole lot. What did you do before you were a writer? Brian, I worked in food and beverage for a couple of decades. Cook, uh, pantry, pastry, cook, it's a cook, server, busboy, hostess, cashier. If it's food and beverage related, I did it for some time. Before I transitioned over to being a writer full time, I worked doing paperwork in the county lockup. I made sure that court records and stuff for the inmates going to and from their arrest stuff. It was called uh, uh, detention technician was the title of the job. I did that for 5 years before I quit that and became a full-time writer, which was kind of where you get Alpha World from. If you could use one weapon of any type, what would you use? You personally, not a character. PM, probably something along a spear. If you're going to take the long pointy stick to keep other people away from me, I am more than likely taking 2 short blades. I did spar for a little bit of time with 2 small ratans. That was well over 20 years ago now. But it was something I did for a while. Excuse me. If you choose to drop the writing down a 3-book rotation, will you write bigger books? Because I love the size of the books you have. No, Rain. I would continue to write the books as they come to me, like they normally have. If I wrote bigger books, then you would not. Once again, you would run into the problem of not getting 6 books a year. So it's not the oh, hey, the rotation shrank. At that point, it's making sure that there's more buffer time. So will your tattoo be in an area that can be safely shown on stream before Heavenly Chaos 2 is out? Well, you don't see the line art that's currently on me, so I'm going to say yes. I'm just going in for coloring this time. The black and white's already on me. I read somewhere that the spear is easy to learn, but takes a lifetime to master. I mean, Chase, to be fair, every weapon takes a lifetime to master. The spear is probably one of the easiest weapons you will ever pick up, though. It is a long stick with a pointy end on the far end of it. The option of how to use it roughly always comes down to using the length to get the pointy stick into the other guy while you stay safe. I mean, it's a fairly simple concept. Execution can be flawed. I appreciate that, Drigus. Like I said, I do the live chats to get back to you guys. I am trying to get through the end of the questions before we hit 2 hours, guys. But you have given me a lot to talk about. What do you prefer, nonfiction or fiction? Reading and writing, fiction. There are very few nonfiction books that I actually take the time to read. I read nonfiction when I was younger, and there were some stories that I really enjoy. Most of my nonfiction that I have read is going to be history because I still to this day love history. Any chance of the better selling series receiving an omnibus version once they're finished? Um, would love to sit down and read something like AR and Binding Words all at once. Argron, on average, my books run about 120,000 words. Let's take Binding Words. 8 books in that series. So on average, you're talking just short of 900,000 words. I don't think you quite grasp how big a book that is. Now, an ebook is one thing, but when you say book, I think paperback. And a paperback like that is, I don't know, something like this. I'm not sure it's feasible. I don't have the books behind me, so I can't just pile them all together and show you. But as a paperback, it is not feasible. As an ebook, maybe. As an audiobook, not a chance in hell. Sorry, 11 books in Binding Words. Thank you, Holly. I've ended so many series on 8 books that at this time of night, I am confused as fuck. Guys, it is late for me, so you're aware. It is almost 8 o'clock on the West Coast. I go to sleep early. I get up ungodly early. So, my brother has a T-shirt that says, "I only say what the voices in my wife's head tell her to tell me to do." You need a T-shirt that says, "I only write what my characters in my books tell me to tell you." I mean, Yeah, but I wouldn't go out of my way to get it made. Every book you read has been a quality book. I've read a lot of books, 200 plus a year, and every book you read is a must buy. Thank you for being a good storyteller and prolific writer. Struggles, thank you for being a fan. I just literally, guys, I just tell you the stories my characters tell me. I appreciate that, but that is what I do. I thank my editors for taking my raw text and turning it into something that you would like. My daughter wants to know what anime you like. Do you like Hero Academia, Hunter x Hunter? Um, Xerox, the anime that I have enjoyed the most, got bashed by a lot of people for being a sponsorship from the Self Defense Force for Japan. It is called Gate. There are a lot of gates out there, just called Gate. So the Self Defense Force fought was the tagline. Loved loved the anime. They cut stuff, of course, out of the manga to get to it. It'll probably never get anything more ever made for it in the form of anime, but I own the DVDs because I enjoyed them so much. And while some people say that it was basically just a thing to make the self defense force look good, I loved Gate. That will at this point still remains my favorite anime. Now there are a lot of animes coming out all the time, and I sit down with my friend once a week and we watch anime. We get through about 4 episodes a week. 4 to 5. I'm gonna say 5. We get through about 5 episodes a week. So we're not burning through them, but we get a lot of things to go through. When I used to do Pokemon Go, there was one gym in my town. 3 cars were all full of people fighting over the exact same gym. It happens, Timmons. Honestly, they could change the way gyms work to give people coins. That wouldn't hurt the company at all, but would make it better for the individual. But they'll probably never do it. Funny, I didn't truly understand the Skippy memes until I listened to Alpha World, and after listening to most of your other stuff. I mean, Guardian. You have to, there's another big series that has a Skippy in it, and I believe that's the Bob series. We Are Legion. Not positive, haven't read it myself, but I'm fairly certain a lot of other Skippy memes come from that. When do we get to see the first chapters of AR9 on Patreon? Infinite, they will show up after the book is published, so it should be the 18th. So it'll be the day after Lux Voice publishes. I have to pull the chapters of Lux Voice down off of Patreon to be in compliance with Amazon's rules tomorrow. And then the book will be published on the 17th, and I will start chapters of Aethers on the 18th. Actually, the chapters are queued and ready to go for that day. One of these days, I'm wondering if you're going to pull a fast one and name make Skippy the main character. It's unlikely. It's entirely unlikely. If I did a villain series, like a true villain series, yeah, probably. Last Horizons remains my favorite series, despite loving all the others. Probably because I'm an older reader gamer. Confucius, I understand. That was my ode to my old gaming group, the Bananas. And basically it came down to, hey, if 40 years from now we had fully immersive VR gaming, and could I get a hold of my old WoW rating buddies and be like, hey, you wanna go have an adventure? That was that was the seed kernel that started Last Horizons, which started me on this journey. So yay, I'm almost caught up. Greg uses foresight, realizes he forgot one of his many wives' birthday, and avoid a fate worse than death. I mean, he would be really hard considering how things are going, but I mean, anything is possible. Yeah, they really should. But once again, I am not affiliated with Dragon Con, so I recently listened to an audiobook that had AG vibes, but it pissed me off a little because they left so much loot on the floor. Yeah, yeah, Firestrider. Um, time and place. I mean, if you're running for your lives, you might not have the time to loot something. But if like you've killed everything and you're safe for a little bit, why in the fuck aren't you? So I can understand. Big guy, not yet determined about the if there's going to be another series added into the 4 book rotation, or if I'm going to drop it to 3 book rotation. What books are you excited for? Ash, I currently have on pre-order. I can say Primal Hunter. Beware of Chicken is not on pre-order, but I'll wait for the next one of that. Um, you know what, guys? Hang on 1 second. You asked me a question, and I can do this easily enough if I just pull up an Amazon and I go over to orders. Come on, orders. Go over to orders. Thank you. I go to not yet shipped because that makes sense. Defiance of the Fall, um, System Universe, Desecrates Book 2, Crystal Core Book 4, Prime. I already said Primal Hunter. He Who Fights with Monsters, which is just over a week away, honestly. Path of Ascension, and Beware of Chicken does have the next book up on pre-order. It's in November. So those are the ones I can say I have on pre-order. So those are the ones that I am looking forward to that I've already pre-ordered. If I opened up my phone and went to things that I haven't started to read yet, oh my fucking god, my to be read pile, guys, grows. I mean, everyone understands that. So hang on. There is one book I'm going to call out specifically. It was by M. Tress. It is called Monster Girls in Space to Valor's Bid. I have not read it yet. The author is a longtime fan. I have it. It's in my TBR. Unfortunately, I have so many things in my TBR. It's going to be a while before I get to it. So I probably will not read it before I see him in Dragon Con, even though I am trying to do so. So, yeah. Are there any authors you've read that had a huge impact on you, BJ? I mean, outside of like the classics, outside of the Heinleins and Asimovs and stuff. I mean, Pratchett, I would say would have one of the biggest impacts. The fact that he never had chapters in like most of his books that I can remember reading, um, helped helped me understand that you don't have to conform to the idea of how other people think you should write. The idea that you didn't have to have chapters was something that it just doesn't happen. Um, but outside of like him, I grew up with Tolkien, Zelazny, Asimov, Heinlein. I grew up with a lot of the people that you would think. Um, but honestly, I would say Pratchett is, I mean, Adams and uh, Aspirin and so on and so forth. But I loved a lot of Pratchett stuff. I will still say for me, The Guards is his best series out of Discworld. And then after that, it gets very, ooh, I really enjoy this, I really enjoy that. But Vimes as himself, the first book of Discworld I read was Fifth Elephant, which hooked me and made me want to read everything else because Vimes was a character I could get behind. What about a book as a collection of short stories about the villains from the various series? That would just be a series of short stories about Skippy's Brian. So probably not. Oh, thank you, by the way. Um, the I will go look up the name so I do not butcher it. It was written by KT Hana, who is one of my favorite people and also a very good author. And I have to look it up because I'm terrible with names, as you guys saw when I had to go look it up. Library System Reset Overdue was the first book. It was written by KT Hana, who wrote other books that I dearly love. Um, it is out, guys. The book and the audio, as far as I am aware, are out together. Book 2 is already up for pre-order, I believe. KT writes such great characters. She does not write harem. She does not write explicit. She doesn't do any of that. But she writes good people. They are female leads. Go figure. KT's a woman. She writes good stories though. So if you want something different than mine, but still a good story, I would say go look at that one. You could always do a joke type false start about 315 pages. Skippy is the MC, then kill him, then we move on to the actual book. I wouldn't do it, Drath. Pulling the rug out from under people is actually a very bad idea, by and large. And while my fans would expect that, anybody who picked up that book wouldn't get it, and I try to avoid that. Uh, I have answered all the questions, guys. I have answered all the questions. And we are 9 minutes off of 2 hours. My eyes are tired. I'm exhausted. I'm gonna get to names tomorrow. So guys, if you want to know if you've won, check back like tomorrow evening or the day after that, please, because I'm not getting into it tonight. And tomorrow I am going to have my arm in pain as it gets colored in. Oops, I just told you where my tattoo was. Um, so I'm probably not going to get to it till tomorrow evening. But do check back in the next couple of days. See if you are one of the winners, because I try to get those coins out as fast as possible. I try to get them out within a month so people aren't sitting around waiting for them, and I try to get them all out in roughly the same time. Okay? I would like to leave the US at some point, Guardian, to go visit places, but I am unlikely to do so in any short period of time. No Darkwind, that would be you. The tramp stamp is still in the work for you. Don't worry. Me and your girlfriend are working on solidifying the full design. But I know there was something about an arrow and entrance here was I think is what she was aiming for. So don't worry, buddy. We got you. One last one. Will you ever want any of your books turned into a good TV series? I mean, Dragon, if somebody would come and talk to me about it, I would totally entertain the prospect. And because at that point you get down to the nitty gritty, creative control and money. But I would have that conversation. So, all right, guys, I am about to hit the end stream button. So thank you for coming to the live chat. Next month's live chat is going to be on the 15th. It's a Thursday. It's going to be 11 a.m. Pacific. So it'll be late evening across the pond, but still not, like 3 o'clock in the morning. So thank you all for coming. The next live chat will be the lead into me going into DragonCon. And by then, we might have some more information to share about things. So until then, guys, stay safe out there because God knows the world is fucking crazy right now. See ya.